congratulations on Abraham's Boys. Brady, Jocelyn, thank you for joining me today. Brady, let's start with
Absolutely.
you. I didn't expect it to be, such a Max-centric story, and it was great. It was amazing. Tell me,
Thank you.
how you expected.
Excuse me, say that one more time.
Is that what you expected me, to be
Oh,
really the star of the film?
um, no, not really. I was expecting it to really kind of take place of, Abraham Van Helsing and this situation that he's now created 20 years after the whole Dracula incident. But I knew that it was going to be prominent behind Max's eyes because Abraham's boys. I think it was kind of bringing in these other characters to show what the Van Helsings were really all about and kind of how the day to day life was. You have a hero to some people, Abraham Van Helsing. Who is he when he's at home? How is he around a family? And so I think a lot of that can only be portrayed uh, from somebody outside of Abraham Van Helsing himself.
Correct. It's definitely a different viewpoint. And I mean, Jocelyn, we have Mira, who who's been with him the longest, of course. Tell me a little bit about your approach to her because I found her to be very, very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, Mina is, you know, uh, one of the core characters in Dracula. She was one of the gang who was trying to solve the mystery, and Abraham Van Helsing kind of was their savior in that situation. And he came with the answers and the explanations and the what to do to stop this evil. So they start from a place of, mutual respect and a shared history and a shared trauma. And now we see them 20 years later, having been isolated on this, dusty California farmhouse. And it's really interesting to see these characters that are so famous, set in a new place, and with new family members. And it was just a really interesting take for Joe and Natasha to look at the Van Helsing family and what the legacy of Abraham's beliefs are and how it's being imprinted onto the next generation.
Brady, talk to me about some of those scenes with Titus. I mean, he plays quite the stern, quite the we see him kind of unravel as the field goes on. A very, very a great version of Abraham, I think.
Absolutely. No, filming with Titus was an actor's dream, being able to come to set with somebody who sets the tone as soon as he gets out of his car. Um, yeah, no, Titus and I, we had lots of conversations about, what we wanted to portray, who we wanted these characters to turn into at the end of the movie. And so we had all of these ideas of, you know, Max, since he looks up to his father so much, Max starts to kind of use some of the terms that Abraham would say when he's talking to others. So we really see Max sort of mimic Abraham in a lot of ways. At the end of the movie, when Max does what he does, is that a good thing that he did, or is he unintentionally turning into his father? There's a lot of these cool little elements that Titus and I talked about, and Natasha as well, and we brainstormed every single day to really bring the best out of these characters that we could.
I mean, it's such a very, very intimate character study. Jocelyn, what did you guys do between actors to kind of get that chemistry going? Because I mean, if it's not, I mean, it's really, really centric to your guys' personalities and characters and past traumas. And when we're isolated in a farmhouse, what did you guys do to kind of mentally prepare yourselves for these interactions?
I mean, we spent as much time as we could together, between takes, just getting to know each other and just spending time is really, what it takes to feel comfortable with people, get to know people quickly on a set. That's like a natural part of what we do. And I think maybe people who are open gravitate to this business or this
Mm.
profession because of that. So it was easy to work with Brady and Judah, who are such lovely people, and everyone's just excited to be there. And then in terms of like working on the scenes, that again was conversations with Natasha and between us about their dynamic. And between Mina and Max, there's a little bit of a more mature connection that's happening as Mina's getting sicker and also starting to question Abraham's motives, I think she's reaching out to Max, and her last wishes are to tell him to protect Rudy and to maybe warn him. Whereas before she was kind of upholding Abraham's fanatical ideas. So we see Mina and the boys kind of tragically trying to come together too late at the end, but it always comes from a sincere place of loving her kids and wanting to protect them.
One of the things I really liked about the film was kind of the underlying mystery threat that Abraham sets up, and Mina also kind of in a way. But we see it in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. You guys have one moment with a vampire or the vampire. Tell me about filming that, because that was a really cool scene, and it actually shows a little bit more of the connection that Max and Mina have together.
Yeah, well, what I always found really cool about the vampire scenes is they were always dream sequences. So I think it's going to leave the audience with, were vampires really real, or was this the figment of what Abraham has been telling everybody? So I think that's going to be a really cool discussion among the audience. But yeah, definitely seeing uh, our Dracula and Mina together is really freaky. I mean, really, the way that they shot it, the way that they were dressed, the way that Natasha created and our amazing wardrobe team created how our Dracula looked. It's really freaky to see, even in some of the dark rooms that we filmed out in some of these scenes that we shot. It was definitely a little spine tingling.
Yeah, those scenes were super fun to shoot. It's in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. There's no light. We have Forrest playing our vampire, who's like 6'5", and this very striking cloak that Abby Martin, our wardrobe designer, created. And so it was just such a different tone from the rest of the movie also, and that's something I love about the movie, is that it's so high contrast. Like, you have the Western California aesthetics during the day, and then at night you have these really cool and scary Dracula moments, and those moments too, I think, are for where Max can kind of commune with Mina mentally. Like, he gets a glimpse of what her psychology is. So it's like a way for them to connect, something he carries with him after she's gone.
Mm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the film in that aspect, because right from the beginning, when somebody gets taken, you're like, oh, that's probably a vampire, and then you're like, wait, was that a vampire? Wait, was that it? And there's just so many themes that are going on, and it really speaks really to families and sometimes generational trauma that gets passed on. So overall, Abraham's Boys, I think, was surprisingly great in the best ways. So thank you so much, Brady and Jocelyn, for a few minutes. I enjoyed the film a lot. I enjoyed both your portrayals. And Brady, honestly, if they decide to continue your guys' story to see what happens in your guys' journey going forward, I am all for it.
Well, thank you very much. I hope Natasha. I'm sure she will. I would love Natasha and Joe to see this. Let's keep those discussions open.
Absolutely.
Manny.
Take care, guys. Nice to meet you
Well,
both.
thank